Hey guys, I've been wanting to do this video ever since I saw Emily over at Books with Emily Fox. She did this video a couple of weeks ago and I was like, that is so fun. So I put all of the books that I read in 2023 in this little jar. There's little pieces of paper. I wrote them all down. So we're going to pick anonymously 2 cards, pair them against each other. I'm going to pick a winner. And by the end, I'm going to have half of the stack will be the losers and half will be the winners, whatever. And then I'll put the winner papers back into the dish, and then we'll do it again all the way until we get the last one. And I have a feeling I kind of know which one will win. I don't know. I have a few tops from 2023, so I guess we'll have to wait to see who wins in the end. But this is just something really fun. I didn't do a top 10 or worst books of the year, any kind of those videos this year. So I thought this would be kind of a good way to like just quickly breeze through all of the books while kind of giving you guys an idea of which ones I rated higher, which ones I rated lower. So let's just jump in. We're going to pair Endless Night, which is Agatha Christie, with Girl with the Seven Names. Girl with the Seven Names. Then we're gonna pair Mermaid Scales in the Town of Sand with Enchantment of Ravens and Enchantment of Ravens. Then 10 Words to Live By with Reckoning at Gossamer Pond. Reckoning at Gossamer Pond. Next we've got Murder at the Dressmaker's Saloon with the Nutcracker Suite. Nutcracker Suite. Then we've got The Cottage on Ghost Lane with Sensibly Wed. Oh, I liked both of these. I'm gonna go with The Cottage on Ghost Lane. Murder at an Irish Christmas and a Skyward graphic novel book 2. Probably Murder at an Irish Christmas. This is fun. I like this. Voyage of the Dawn Treader with Down the Rabbit Hole. Probably Voyage of the Dawn Treader. I usually like the Narnia books quite a bit, so. Inspector and Mrs. Jeffries, that's the first one of the series, with The Girl in the Glim. Oh, Mrs. Jeffries, for sure. The next 2, Bird and Squirrel on Ice, and Lower. The next 2, The Grandmother Plot, and 5 Short Christmas Dickens Stories, Grandmother Plot. Hidden Currents and Vanishing at Loxby Manor. Vanishing at Loxby Manor wins that one. We've got Deadly Affair, which is another Agatha Christie, with Sing Me Forgotten. Sing Me Forgotten. Then we've got Fragments of Fear with Heart of Red, Blood of Blue, which is gonna be Heart of Red, Blood of Blue. Then The Illustrated Man with The Betrayal, The Illustrated Man. We've got Mrs. Jeffries Plays the Cook and The Wonderland Trials. I'm gonna go with Mrs. Jeffries. Then we've got War of the Worlds, which is a classic, with Nightlight for sure. I really like that series. We've got Skyward Book 3 with Man of Mist and Shadow, which is gonna be the winner, Man of Mist and Shadow. Got Mrs. Jeffries on the Trail and The Looking Glass Illusion. Mrs. Jeffries, that's funny. Mrs. Jeffries and The Wonderland Trials twice. Dangerous Beauty and The Horse and His Boy. Dangerous Beauty. The next 2, Murder in the Drawing Room and Hunter in the Valley of Death. This one, they both, maybe I'll go with Hunter in the Valley of Death. The next 2, Mystery of the Clockwork Sparrow and Goose Girl. Goose Girl. Okay, this is fun. I like this. I might do this every year. Fragments of Fear. Did I have Fragments of Fear in here twice? Oh well. Fragments of Fear and Turtle in Paradise. Fragments of Fear. The Silver Chair and A Heart So Fierce and Broken. That was a reread, but I love The Silver Chair, so I'm gonna go with Silver Chair, even though I do really like that other series. Arena with Monstrous Regiment. I'm gonna go with Monstrous Regiment just because of the weirdness of that book. It was very interesting. The Unfinished Gift and Yellow Lantern. Unfinished Gift. Next, A Curse So Dark and Lonely with A Gigantic Beard That Was Evil. Curse So Dark and Lonely. The Book Wanderers, which is book 1, and My Cousin Rachel. I'm going with My Cousin Rachel. We've got They Came to Baghdad, another Agatha Christie, with Murder at the Mayfair Hotel. And I'm going with Murder at the Mayfair Hotel. The next two, Seven Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, which is another reread, and Oath, Seven Deaths. So sometimes I say 7 deaths, sometimes I say 7.5 deaths, because the European publishing and the American publishing have different names. It's the same book, but for whatever reason, different names. Point of Danger with Marshmallow and Jordan. Point of Danger. I didn't really find a ton of like graphic novels that I loved this year. Secret Princess, that's a Melanie Dickerson, or is that a Melanie Sellier? That's a Melanie Sellier, I think. Let me just double check. It is Melanie Sellier, yes. And we're pairing that one with Dawn's Light. I'm going with Dawn's Light. I really like that series. Haven of Swans, which is Colleen Coble, with The Noble Guardian, which is Michelle Creek. So definitely The Noble Guardian. Rapunzel's Revenge and Crown of Chains. Crown of Chains. Then we've got Silk with Moby Dick. Oh, definitely Silk. Moby Dick was a bit rough. The Great Divorce, which is C.S. Lewis, with The Gilded Lady. Actually, I'm going with Gilded Lady. That one was Christy Camden? No, Elizabeth Camden. I think it's Elizabeth Camden. Dead Man's Ransom, which is another Agatha Christie, with Silent Shadows, which is Natalie Walters. We're gonna go with, oh that's right, Dead Man's Ransom is an Ellis Peters, not an Agatha Christie. Okay, so then I'm gonna go with Silent Shadows. Wait, let me double check. Some of these I kind of forget, so I have to double check on Goodreads what the book was about, right? Yes, I did like Silent Shadows. There was one in that trilogy that I didn't care for, so I had to double check that I had the right one. Flight or Wolf Hollow? Flight. I also like that series. We have The Oats and Elfine, and Wildflower Pages. Oh, it's a graphic novel paired with a poetry book. The poetry book, actually. Let's go with Pathways and Seven Dials Mystery. That's an Agatha Christie. I think so far, like, I've read 3 books with 7 in the title, which is interesting. I did not like Seven Dials Mystery. Okay, then we're gonna go with Pathways. Oh. The next 2 are Christmas Joyride with Death Comes as the End, which is an Agatha Christie. And I'm gonna go with Christmas Joyride. I liked that one. We're pairing Shark Lady with The Last Battle. Going with Last Battle. We have A Collision of Lies paired with True Light. Then we have Radiant with Tales from the Cafe. We'll go with Radiant. We've got Merchant with Labyrinth of Lies. I'm gonna go with Merchant. We're pairing up The Giver with Holiday Amnesia. The Giver. I really liked The Giver. Secret of Danger Point, which is a graphic novel, with Murder at the Piccadilly Playhouse. Murder at the Piccadilly Playhouse. That was the first in a series, and all the books kind of went downhill from that one, because I really liked the first one. Counted with the Stars with Captain's Bride. Counted with the Stars. End of Eternity with Bait of Satan. Bait of Satan. We're going with Magician's Nephew and Kingdom's Hope. Magician's Nephew. We've got A Dance in Donegal with Mrs. Jeffries' Dust for Clues. It's gonna be a Mrs. Jeffries for me. Silent Songbird and Eloise Wilkin Treasury, Silent Songbird. Actually, I think there may have been 3 already that have the word silent in them. Curious. I'll start again Monday, and Towards Zero. I'll start again Monday. We have Tales from a Perilous Realm and The Prophet. Tales from the Perilous Realm. Gotta give it to my man Tolkien. Managing God's Money with Amethyst Heart. Managing God's Money. So far, like, most of my decisions have been somewhat easy. Treasure Box and The Shark King. Treasure Box. But I'm curious, the farther along we go, how much harder it's gonna get. The Ghost and Mrs. Jeffries and A Vow So Bold and Deadly. Oh, that's a curious pairing. I just love Mrs. Jeffries. We just gotta give it to her another time. We have Silent Night, Holy Night, which I did not care for, with Skin of the Sea, which was not a favorite either. But we're gonna go Skin of the Sea because mermaids. Set the Stars Alight and 84 Charing Cross Road. I'm gonna go with 84 Charing Cross Road. I know, weird. Torrent with The Warrior Maiden. I'm going with Warrior Maiden. To Win a Prince, oh boy, with Merlin's Nightmare. Definitely Merlin's Nightmare. Kalor with Prince Caspian. Kalor. Oh, that's my first Narnia in the Lost pile. Crabapple Trouble with Les Miserables. Ooh. Ooh. Very different. Crabapple Trouble is like a very young audience graphic novel, beautiful illustrations, very, I think it's more, it was a while since I read this one, so I think it's more bullying based, but it is more of a simplistic story, but the illustrations are really cute, whereas Les Mis is like 1,000-page classic, adult themes, very dry most of the time, but the story is in and of itself is really great. So I think I might give it to Les Mis. Okay. Sonnet to a Dead Contessa and Nova. Oh, I liked both of these. Oh. Oh ho ho, what do I do? Sonnet? That's my first Starlore Legacy book in the Lost pile. Deadly Deceit with Huckleberry Finn. Oh, I did not like Huckleberry Finn, so Deadly Deceit. Private Justice with House of Silk. House of Silk. Then we've got Memory Index with Last Light. We're going with Last Light on that. The Detective's Assistant with Overcoming Unwanted Intrusive Thoughts. We're gonna go give it to the nonfiction. Princess Game with House at the End of the Moor. House at the End of the Moor. Michelle Grief. Okay, Lion the Witch in the Wardrobe. Oh boy. With Mrs. Jeffries on the Ball. I do love Mrs. Jeffries, but Lion the Witch in the Wardrobe. That's my first Mrs. Jeffries in the Lost pile. This is fun. I'm having so much fun. Let me know in the comments below if you guys are having fun. Traces of Guilt with Ordeal by Innocence. Ordeal by Innocence, actually. I think that's the first time an Agatha Christie one. Oh no, yeah, is it? Bird and Squirrel on the Run with Eyes of Elisha. Eyes of Elisha. Next one is Living Lies. Letters from Father Christmas. Oh no, I love both of these, but Tolkien has to win it. Absolutely has to win it. Okay, The Last Dance. Graphic novel with Vanishing at Castle Moreau. Castle Moreau. Lady in the Lionheart with Word of Honor. Lady in the Lionheart. Cascade with Sprite and the Gardener. Cascade. Prince of Spies with The Captive Maiden. Oh, I do like both of these, but Prince of Spies will win that one. I think that's my first Melanie Dickerson in the Lost pile. Once Upon a Wardrobe with Shady Hollow. Once Upon a Wardrobe. The Story of Holly and Ivy and Skyward Book 1. Skyward Book 1, actually. That surprises me. Once Upon a Dickens Christmas and The Prince and the Pauper. Once Upon a Dickens Christmas, for sure. Shall greet you guys. Pilgrim's Progress with Erasing Hell. Pilgrim's Progress. That's a bit of a harder one to read because of the way the English language is written, but As I Lay Dying, which I did not like, with Upchuck and the Rotten Willie, so we're gonna give it to a middle grade. The Pawn with Wildwood. The Pawn. Shadow of Doubt with By Reason of Insanity. By Reason of Insanity? Getting down to the bottom of the barrel here. Light of Iden with Merlin's Shadow. Merlin's Shadow. Mrs. Jeffries Takes Stock. And I, Robot. Mrs. Jeffries. Searching for Christmas with The Hobbit. Oh my goodness, The Hobbit. Oh, what are we gonna do? Like, can a reread win, you guys? I don't know how to do this. Old Man and the Sea with Fantastic Tales for Fearless Girls. Oh, they're both quite meh, but Fantastic Tales for Fearless Girls, I guess. We've got Vivid with Narwhalicorn and Jelly. Vivid. Merlin's Blade with Fishbone Song. Merlin's Blade. And we've got one left, which is Heiress of Winterwood. So we're gonna put it back in the jar. Mix them up again real good. Oh, you guys. This is fun. Okay. Here we are at it again. The Hunter in the Valley of Death. Mrs. Jeffries on the trail. Mrs. Jeffries. I like this way of like finding out the top. It's not quite accurate either. Like I was saying in my reading journal wrap up, that I don't think picking your favorite out of each month is like super accurate. Where I don't think this is super accurate either, because if you're gonna have like two of your favorites, you have to pick one. One of your favorites is going down there, and then if you have two that you hate, and you have to pick one of them is going up here. So, you know, it's not super accurate, but it is fun. Flight with Murder at the Piccadilly Playhouse. Flight. Lady in the Lionheart versus Merchant. Merchant. Lore, Tales of a Perilous Realm. Tales of a Perilous Realm. Last Light versus Merlin's Blade. Oh, those are both book ones of series I really enjoyed. One is dystopian, one is fantasy, and they're both Christian. Oh. Which one did I enjoy more? I don't know. I'm gonna go with Last Light. That's rough, you guys. Oh boy. Murder at an Irish Christmas with The Silver Chair. Silver Chair. It's really cool though, because you kind of like, if you try and force yourself to make decisions quickly, it kind of like reinforces things that you really like about books. Curse of Dark and Lonely with Vanishing at Castle Moreau. A Curse of Dark and Lonely. Fantastic Tales for Fearless Girls with Managing God's Money. Managing God's Money is one of my favorites, so. Nightlight with Warrior Maiden. Nightlight. We've got Lion, the Witch and Wardrobe with Calor. Calor. Oh. That quick response surprised me, actually. Ordeal by Innocence with Christmas Joyride. Christmas Joyride. Once Upon a Dickens Christmas with Monstrous Regiment. Dickens Christmas. The Ghost of Mrs. Jeffries with Murder at the Mayfair Hotel. The Ghost of Mrs. Jeffries. Sing Me Forgotten with The Cottage on Ghost Lane. The Cottage on Ghost Lane. We've got The Gilded Lady and The Nutcracker Suite. Gilded Lady. Counted with the Stars and Merlin's Shadow. Merlin's Shadow. Fragments of Fear with Man of Mist and Shadow. Or Man of Shadow and Mist, whatever. That one definitely wins. Man of Shadow and Mist. Once Upon a Wardrobe with The Inspector and Mrs. Jeffries. No. I really love both of these. Gonna go with Mrs. Jeffries. Pilgrim's Progress Progress with Heiress of Winterwood. Pilgrim's Progress. House of Silk with Eyes of Elisha. House of Silk. True Light with Mrs. Jeffries Takes Stock. Mrs. Jeffries Takes Stock. Silent Songbird with Vivid. Vivid. Overcoming Unwanted Intrusive Thoughts or The Giver. I think I'm gonna go with the nonfiction again. Wildflower Pages with Girl with the Seven Names. Girl with the Seven Names. I would be surprised if a poetry made it really high for me. Noble Guardian versus Point of Danger. Noble Guardian. Michelle Greep. Skin of the Sea with The Illustrated Man. The Illustrated Man. I'll Start Again Monday. And The Reckoning at Gossamer Pond. I'll Start Again Monday. Oh, how many nonfiction is that? Is that like 3? Pathways versus Dangerous Beauty. Oh, Dangerous Beauty. Easily. Letters from Father Christmas versus Enchantment of Ravens. Letters from Father Christmas. The Unfinished Gift versus My Cousin Rachel. My Cousin Rachel. Voyage of the Dawn Treader versus The Treasure Box. Dawn Treader. The Pawn versus House at the End of the Moor. House at the End of the Moor. Fate of Satan versus Magician's Nephew. Magician's Nephew. Sonnet to a Dead Contessa. 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. That'll be for Evelyn Hardcastle. Mrs. Jeffries Plays the Cook and Goose Girl. Oh. Like sometimes you feel like you know how you feel about your books and then 2 really random ones get put against each other and you're like, actually, I don't know. Goose Girl. Ooh, that's the first Mrs. Jeffries on the loser pile, I think. Not the loser pile, there's lots of good books in there. Cascade versus A Crown of Chains. Crown of Chains. Mrs. Jeffries, Dust for Clues, and Last Battle. Last Battle. That was another Mrs. Jeffries. Like, whoa. Okay. 84 Charing Cross Road versus Merlin's Nightmare. Merlin's Nightmare. Skyward, Book 1. I don't know why I said that weird. The Grandmother Plot. Skyward. The Hobbit versus Radiant. The Hobbit. I wonder who could beat The Hobbit. Round 3. Mrs. Jeffries Takes Stock and Calor. Calor. Now we're getting to my top, the half of the books. Wait, how do I say that? The top half of books. That's not even accurate either. Whatever. Okay. Heart of Red, Blood of Blue versus Managing God's Money. Ooh. 2 favorites of mine. I own them both. I loved them both. They both stuck with me. You guys, I don't know, but I'm leaning towards Managing God's Money. Okay, we've got The Girl with the 7 Names, The Cottage on the Ghost Lane. Ghost Lane, even though that rhymed. Sort of. Dangerous Beauty versus Merchant. Dangerous Beauty. Man of Mist and Shadow, Mrs. Jeffries on the Trail. Man of Shadow and Mist. Whatever. Inspector and Mrs. Jeffries, Overcoming Unwanted Intrusive Thoughts. I think we're going to go with Inspector and Mrs. Jeffries that time. We've got The Last Battle with Silent Shadows. Last Battle. Dawn's Light and Last Light. Oh, wow! That's interesting, from the same series. That's the first time that's happened. We're going to go with Last Light. I liked. Last Light was the first book, so. Magician's Nephew and The Ghost and Mrs. Jeffries. The Ghost and Mrs. Jeffries. I might regret that one. House of Silk versus Silverchair. Silverchair. Once Upon a Dickens Christmas versus The Hobbit. The Hobbit, that's the first Michelle Greep going down into the lost pile. My Cousin Rachel versus Voyage of the Dawn Treader. My Cousin Rachel. That's weird. Goose Girl versus Nightlight. Goose Girl? So weird. 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle versus The Gilded Lady. 7 Deaths. I do like The Gilded Lady, but 7 Deaths. The Noble Guardian versus Tales from the Perilous Realm. There's another Michelle Greep going down because we gotta give it to Tolkien. Next two. House at the End of the Moor versus Flight. House at the End of the Moor? That's a tough one. Skyward Book 1 and Silk. Skyward Book 1 actually. I'll Start Again Monday versus Merlin's Shadow. Merlin's Shadow. The Illustrated Man versus A Curse So Dark and Lonely. A Curse So Dark and Lonely. Like, some of these are surprising me. Merlin's Nightmare versus Pilgrim's Progress. Merlin's Nightmare. Letters from Father Christmas. Les Mis. Definitely Letters from Father Christmas. Vivid versus Christmas Joyride. Vivid. There's only one left. And that one is A Crown of Chains. Okay, round 4. Getting down to the wire, guys. My Cousin Rachel, 7 Deaths. 7 Deaths. Oh, I forgot one. Mix that one back in. Dangerous Beauty versus Man of Shadow and Mist. Dangerous Beauty. House at the End of the Moor, Last Light. Last Light. Crown of Chains versus Last Battle. Last Battle? Merlin's Nightmare versus A Curse So Dark and Lonely. A Curse So Dark and Lonely. Guys, what's happening? What's happening? I don't even know. Managing God's Money versus Letters from Father Christmas. Managing God's Money. That's the first Tolkien, guys. Oh. Oh, that hurts. That hurts. Silver Chair versus The Ghost of Mrs. Jeffries. Silver Chair. This is so funny. Kalor versus Inspector and Mrs. Jeffries. Oh boy. Kalor? We're getting real cutthroat here, guys. Skyward Book 1 versus Goose Girl. Goose Girl. The Hobbit versus The Cottage on Ghost Lane. Oh, that's easy. The Hobbit. The last two for this round is Merlin's Shadow versus Tales from the Perilous Realm. Tales from the Perilous Realm. Okay, look at this, you guys. We've only got a handful left. So fun. Managing God's Money versus Vivid. Managing God's Money. That's just a super profound book. Last Battle, Last Light. Oh, that's funny. Last Light. The Goose Girl versus The Hobbit. Hobbit. A Curse So Dark and Lonely versus Dangerous Beauty. Dangerous Beauty. I was wondering who was going to beat out A Curse So Dark and Lonely. Silver Chair versus 7 Deaths. 7 Deaths. Kalor versus, these are the last two. Kalor versus Tales from the Perilous Realm. Kalor. Literally a handful of options left to go. So I think it's pretty clear The Hobbit's gonna win. The Hobbit versus 7 Deaths. Oof. The Hobbit. But 7 Deaths, man. It's a good one. The next two, Last Light versus Managing God's Money. Managing God's Money. See, like, some of the comparisons are easier than others. Why is this hard to get at? Okay, we've got Dangerous Beauty versus Kalor. I've got Dangerous Beauty and Kalor both on my shelf right now. Dangerous Beauty. Oh, you guys. So that means the last three are Managing God's Money, The Hobbit, and Dangerous Beauty. One of them is a reread. So Dangerous Beauty and Managing God's Money are the tops, if we're not including rereads. You guys, this is so fun. I don't know if I would have anticipated these three to come out at top. I mean, this one, yes, The Hobbit, for sure. But interesting. I think I had Dangerous Beauty in my mind, like possibly being a winner. So this is super interesting. Let me know if you guys like this video. I loved this video. I am totally gonna do this again in coming years. I'm even debating doing videos from past years just so I have like the video record of it. let me know if you guys are interested in that, because I mean, the content is still relevant because it's still my feelings about the books that I've read in the past. So, I mean, there is potential there. So let me know what you think of that. Anyway, I hope you guys have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!